actually place public comment, one, at the end of the meeting, and secondly, we do request that if someone would like to address our governing body, that they would, we have a form they fill out.
Sign sheet
and
you
they
sign.
sign
Is it
in,
night of the
say,
meeting?
I'm sure under consideration.
Can I please finish my
Yes, sir,
statement,
please
sir?
do.
Okay, so I want to clarify, if we're gonna talk about, that's our protocol, and so folks who would want to choose to address us, will sign in, they wait, and there's a period at the end of the meeting where they're allowed to express themselves. Now, and that's our format on our print agenda, the one that we share with the public.
You're not attempting to prevent the public from expressing thoughts that aren't on the agenda, correct, sir?
Well, I'm attempting to express my thought, if I could, please. If that's a problem, I can stop. I just wanted to say I wanted to get correct information. Do want to get correct information. I'll stop.
I think we want to finish our meeting first, and then we can have comments.
While it's still a public meeting, but after we handle the business,
Yes,
which is fine.
we have an adjournment. Something else?
Sure, year-to-date net income is a negative 342,000. June income is 350,388. 288,000 of that is from the KDOT grant, KAIP grant. That's for the taxi lanes for the T-hangers. Sales services at 47%, general revenue at 32%, field revenue at 37%, grants are at 30%, aviation fuel is 42%, total income is 34%. Personnel is 50%, contractual 1.7, commodities 32 or 23%, capital outlays 30%, aviation fuel that we purchased 35%, operating expenses at 63%, grants and bonds at 50%, year-to-date expenditures at 54%.
On our operating expenses, is it about normal, 63% this time, or?
No, it's higher because we got the building going up, we
Yeah.
have the T-hanger,
Yeah.
all those wonderful projects.
And our billing out there, we have a due date on it yet?
The actual connecting tunnel is up. And it's connecting the two buildings. They're gonna have to have that management report, but they're gonna have to cut the wall in the big toy building to gain access to that. So they'll have the fire suppression finish up, the electrical finish up, and some of the minor details on that. So I'd expect within the hopefully next week, they can take possession, or the following week.
And then we can start charging.
Well, then we'll start collecting rent.
Yeah.
That's the main point, is get somebody in there and start getting rent.
Okay. Do you have any old business to come up on the meeting? No?
Vote on this, you have to vote on the financial.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I would move we approve the financials as presented.
I hear a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so move and second that we approve the financials. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, so we don't have any old business. New business?
Yeah, form leases expire at the end of August 31st. I visited with the four farmers that we have. Currently, right now, it's a 5-year cash rent lease. It expires at the end of the month. The current rate is $43 an acre. One of them is $38 an acre, and that's where it was basically the borrow pit over there for the runway, so it's already soil. They've all done a good job for us, and I visited with the farmers, checked what the local going rate is, and it's between $45 and $55 an acre, $60 an acre. Offered them up $50 an acre and $43 for the one where the topsoil was removed. I visited with Bob Bagley. He's not, couldn't make it this evening, but he was in agreement. I visited with him before I talked to any of the farmers. Jay had mentioned that, that maybe we'd want to look at a 3-year lease. McFarland is putting in alfalfa, and that takes a little while to establish that crop. And he's not willing to make that investment into alfalfa if it's only going to be a 3-year lease.
Yeah, I talked to Bob Bagley about that, and he also brought up that, sometimes that, when a farmer leases ground, they buy extra equipment stuff, and they usually like to have at least a 5-year lease. And I agree with him on that, but I was just thinking, you know, a shorter lease, because everything's kinda upside down, you don't know in 3 years where price is gonna be at stuff, instead of getting caught in 5-year, but I understand what Bob's saying, and I understand, you know, with the alfalfa thing too, so, I mean.
And in the past, if you remember years ago, they did the 1/3, 2/3 thing, and they got in a little bit of trouble up there at the FSA office with some insurance and papers weren't signed correctly by some previous administration, and we had to pay some money back, and this gives us you know, then you have to worry about insuring crops, selling crops, when to sell them, when to hold on to them, that type of stuff. So this gives us a budget to plug in for a number to plug in for our budget every year, and it seems to have worked pretty well for us.
What, we got about 1,000 acres of farmland?
Yeah, pretty close.
Just out of curiosity, the area where the topsoil's been removed, is that gradually being worked to where, are the yields still low?
The yields are still low.
Okay, that's fair.
It'd be nice if they maybe put some alfalfa in over there and try to maybe.
Yeah, something
bring it
to-
back,
And they need to put, you know, like some kind of a boom back in that thing, but, you know.
Yeah,
Get some nitrogen back in the ground,
Yeah.
get some
Yeah.
humus back, you know, get some organics back into the soil.
okay. But as it is, and since we were involved with topsoil removal, I guess that still makes sense to have.
And that's only, I think that's
Add
about
discount.
70 acres.
Oh, okay.
It's a small portion.
Yeah. Okay.
And I talked to Dennis Schertz about, you know, the prices, and he said between 50 and 60, so I mean, we're in the ballpark, you know, now, so.
In that case, I would move we approve the leases with the farmers that we have current leases with at the $50 and $43 an acre for the area of topsoil's removed.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we approve the farm leases as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
And
no.
you're also a 5-year lease involved.
5 years, yeah,
Yes.
as presented, that's, thank you.
All opposed say no. Okay, motion carried. Next is an engagement letter with Shipley CPA.
Yes, included in the board packet was an engagement letter from Shipley CPA for the 2022 audit. The cost is a not to exceed price of $81.50.
I move we accept the engagement letter as presented.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and second that we accept the engagement letter from Shipley CPA in the 2022 audit. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Now, having said that, you might, I think he's got a typo in the first paragraph in there. It doesn't change the meaning of anything, but it looks like he didn't take out some of the accounting standards pieces in there, where it's just accounting standards accepted, provide for certain, the Kansas Municipal Auditing Guide, provide for certain regulatory, that's just a little typo piece in there.
I'll
Just
have
mention
to
it
take
to
a
him.
look at that.
Yeah. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't change any meaning or anything of what we're doing.
I know we were having a dickens of a time even finding someone to take.
I
it
know.
on, so
I'm not
it's-
complaining about this. This is a good deal to have him do it.
Okay, do we have any other business to come before the meeting?
Management report.
Oh, sorry.
Just a couple of things here. I was out the last week, but I met with that Western Industries leadership over there regarding the warehouse and things are progressing this nicely, as I mentioned. The connecting buildings hooked up. They got it cut through the wall. Get the electric and the fire protection in there. Wet samples were collected this week to submit to the lab, as Arc City requested, the environmental department requested. We get those results back, we'll pass those along to Arc City, see if we can keep moving along there. Received closeout documentation from the FAA for the airport grant, the ARPA funds that we got. And also received the executed grant offer to install the perimeter fence along the east side of the terminal and the apron. That came in last week. And also Jessica set up an appointment with me last week. She wasn't able to make it, but met with one of the potential prospects last Friday that she's got looking at potentially landing in Strother Field. That's all I have.
Okay, do you have any other business?
Yeah, I've got something I just want to bring up. We're kind of going through our portfolio in our city, our Kansas City, on Friday and stuff, and we're looking at maybe doing some changes where we can maybe go to treasury bonds and stuff like that yielding 5.5%, you know, in some, you know, places. I wonder if we could take a look at that, cause these interest rates on this stuff is pretty low.
We looked at T rates, or originally we were in T-bills out here years ago. You're locked into them for a year and then all of a sudden, boom, you get slammed, and actually CD rates were higher at the time, that's when we went to CDs.
Yeah,
But yes, we could definitely look at that.
yeah, cause they're pretty high right now.
When they come up, what we do is we send it out to all the local banks and offer them a chance to bid on it, and then we usually roll it over to the.
But I also, when you do that, I'd also ask for, T-bill rates too, you know, because they won't really tell you that, cause they wanna use their interest. You know what I mean? So, anyway, it's just food for thought.
Any other items? Okay, Mr. Chapman? I think
Thank
we
you.
need to set some ground rules.
I think that the precedence that has been established, I'd like to follow in the past meetings. If you're gonna change rules
I'm
now,
not changing rules, but you have attacked all of us for the last 2 weeks, and we don't wanna be attacked
I'm
here
not gonna
today.
attack, I promise you, there'll be no attacks. I'll ask questions. I like the Socratean approach in dealing with public officials. It seems to be the safe way to go. So I will ask questions and I'll make statements that are fact-based and fact-based only, Ms. Butters.
And we're not gonna be here
30
30
minutes, no,
minutes,
no, everybody
15
wants to go
minutes.
home.
Yes.
All right, so first I'd just like to address the group.
Again, so you have a document, you talk about facts. Item 6 on the city commission agenda, comments from the audience for items not on the agenda. We don't put it at the front of our meeting.
And we're at the end of the meeting now, right?
Yep.
In the past, it's always been the first, but I don't mind waiting, that's fine.
I'm clarifying what you said.
As a point of order, there's been no consistency here, sir.
The city of Arkansas City.
I've spoken at our city at the beginning of every meeting I've
Bless
attended.
your heart.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate it, I lose all the blessings I can get, and baby Jesus thanks you too. This evening, I want to address SCAD, South Central Kansas Economic Development Group, and their activity at Strother Field, particularly the 100 acres to the southwest side west of Western Industries. KOMAs, KORAs, Union State Bank emails, Winfield Utilities policies, and the abatements. Greg Thompson, I just have a question for you. Are you related to Thompson Concrete up in Manhattan or Chanute? You don't have to answer that now, you can answer it later. Of course, you didn't answer the KORA, didn't even acknowledge it. And Sean, last Tuesday morning's meeting that you had here at Strother Field, there were witnesses that placed you
It
here.
was not a request, it was like.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so let me
My
get started
first day back
first.
in the office was Wednesday, I was
Okay.
going to Colorado.
Fine. In December of '22, I presented a recommendation for the Strother Field Commission to consider. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing unless anybody would like a refresher. But fundamentally, what I had done is I had recommended that the Strother Field Commission consider that Cali First with Lucas Goff and Jessica Falk be engaged with the sitting United States Senators Jerry Moran and Roger Marshall. That letter was submitted and I'm in possession of that email. I'm more than happy to share it with you because it went directly to Brenda Butters at her request from Jessica Falk. Attorney Muret, if you'd like to stipulate that that letter exists, it'll save us some time.
I'm not stipulating to anything.
Fair enough, sir. All right, well then I'll read it to you. And I have that with me. And I think it's important for the record that it be noted, Ms. Diana Ferrantino, that in fact, and I'll give you my copy that I have. Just give me a moment, please, sir. Right here. Infrastructure improvements are drastically needed to maintain the Strotherfield Airport Industrial Park as a viable industrial complex. Strotherfield is jointly owned by the cities of Winfield and Arkansas City and operates under a mutual contract. Strotherfield is home to industries such as GE, Western Industries, Morton Buildings, Columbia Elevator Solutions, and numerous others that employ over 2,000 employees. Investment in Strotherfield enables Cali County to participate in the state's initiative to expand and grow our rural economy, leading the way to new global opportunities. We request your support and funding to facilitate needed improvements in the following areas: repair, improvement of existing roads, perimeter security, monitoring equipment, repairs to current water tower, expansion of the sewer and water system to accommodate future growth, expanded public safety services, and required equipment and renovation of existing buildings for expansion to attract new business. The improvements to Strother Field Airport Industrial Park will provide much needed support for the creation of new economic opportunity and maintain efficiencies and sustainability of existing Strother Field businesses. The aforementioned improvements are critical to the site selection process for attraction of new business and expansion of existing businesses. We cordially invite you to visit Strother Field Industrial Park and join us in partnership for the economic development of Kelly County. Attorney Schwartz, would you like to have that for you to share and you can give copies to Brother Muret? That was the new business in December that I presented to this body, these exact people, plus at that time it was Alan Groom, not Bob Vagley. And of course, who's missing tonight? Scotty Rogers is not here, correct. But Scotty has a copy of that as well. Brother Muret has it. Then you went into executive session and you all decided that you wanted Cali first because of the marvelous work Lucas Goff has done in obtaining, what's the number now, Lucas, up to $6 million from KDOT thereabouts for road and bridge across the county. Sean, I'm told, so it's hearsay, but there was a kerfuffle and January meeting got canceled and we moved to February. Bob McGregor obtained the meeting minutes and he came and picked them up from Diane Fiorentino. And there's a sticky on the front that said, Bob McGregor called Friday 3:3 at 10:15 a.m. He wants a copy of the last February 15th SFC meeting minutes. Uh-oh, they're still at it. On that agenda, something changed dramatically from the old business that I read and provided to Ms. Butters. In an old business, someone in this room changed this, and now Ms. Butters, yes, I am saying it was a complete lie that misled Bob Vagley and Commissioner Jennings. He didn't know the truth. And the old business says, consider a letter from David Chapman requesting authority to contact representatives on Strother Field's behalf. A draft letter was developed by Cali First for Mr. Chapman, which would allow him to address our Kansas representatives on Strother Hill's behalf, requesting their support and funding for Strother Field improvements. Commissioner Vagley, Butters Jennings' motion to deny the letter contacting our representatives on behalf of Strother Field, and the motion passed, which was the correct decision based on what was represented. But it gets better.
You know, David, we've been
Hang on.
over all of this, over
Yeah,
and
but there were
over.
people that don't know, and we haven't
The
gone over and
minutes
over
were
it because these are
corrected.
facts, and you're interrupting me now, and it's my time, so I'd like to reserve my time. You're welcome to ask questions
Unless
later.
you seconded the motion to accept the minutes.
That's correct.
Mhm.
And then in April,
Jay did.
after those meeting
The
minutes were
letter that was
ratified,
presented came from the email from Jessica Fall.
I
not
have
from
that
Brenda.
email with me.
I've got it with me, I can go print it off now. It
I
came
can
from
assure
Jessica
you I have
Fall.
representations
And it was
from
a-
Lucas
it was
Goff, but
from
that
her-
is not accurate.
It was from a 60,000 foot view or something like that.
My name was not in that letter, Sean, and you know it. and I
That's where
know
the
it.
email came from, what was presented, and I was.
Well, I'd love to see that, so
Lucas,
we'll,
did that come from Jessica, or your office?
That's my
the one I got?
understanding,
Yeah. I didn't get it
David
from
Chapman,
Brenda.
KORA, the
Yeah.
information that was provided, his request was, there was an email correspondence with Ms. Butters, there was an email correspondence with him, we provided that through that request. Regarding what Jessica has, that was not something that I had.
and that letter did not have my name. So then I sent a cord to Taggart Wall, City of Winfield. Imagine my surprise, because KORA's IT guys,
His name's not Darren.
what's his name? I can't remember. Trevor?
I've already provided that to you in KORA.
All right, so thank you for your cooperation.
You bet.
In that core response, the city manager Taggart Wall provided to me in those almost 300 documents, buried in that was an email from Brenda Butters to David Chapman. I have the record and I provided it to the appropriate people that need to have it. In that is an email from Brenda Butters to me. Why was it in the city of Winfield's core response? It's because it was blind copied. And then I find another email from Brenda Butters to Brenda Butters, memorializing a memorandum, which was BCC'd to other people, because my name was in it. That's why your IT manager gave it to me. So then I send a KORA to Commissioner Butters to her Union State Bank account, her email, and I copy Orville Mason. This is after I provided all the documents to your COO, EVP, and Risk Mitigation Officer for Union State Bank, Mike McQuirk. This is the response I got from Orville Mason. Dear Mr. Chapman, I represent Union State Bank. Your June 9th, 2023 email requesting records pursuant to the Kansas Open Records Act has been sent to me. Apparently, he's counsel for Union State Bank. Union State Bank declines to provide records pursuant to the request. I didn't ask for any financial information. Taggart already gave it to me. I had the state audit statement. We got 2.1 million in cattlemen's and RCB. It's on 1 week to 1 month to maybe 6 months. $2.1 million just sitting there collecting little interest, not being leveraged, not being utilized. You're failing to fulfill your fiduciary obligation to fulfill a duty of care with this. So I'm glad to hear the Commissioner Warren is saying, why don't we try to get better yield out of this? I know John Sturr's interested in seeing what he can do with it. Ms. Butters asked me to write a letter for verbiage. Military attaché in Jerry Moran's office provided 22 dates and times in January to help this body navigate the federal appropriations process. 22 dates and time, and you didn't respond. You snubbed a sitting U.S. Senator, and you told me and Jay Warren in your office that you love Jerry Moran because he always comes home. And then you said, David, would you please write a letter for me so we have the verbiage correct? And I sent it to you. Per our conversation yesterday and your request for the Cali First draft letter, Cali First has the professional resources to size, price, and draft the request for the Strother Commission seeking federal appropriations from our honorable U.S. Kansas senators. Each falls under federally approved funding eligibility closing this April 15th, 2023. This is for fiscal year 23 that closed April 15th of 2023. Nobody spoke with the senators, and they have a military attaché that could navigate FAA and every other federal body that has funds available to help this county. I gave you specific verbiage. It wasn't necessary because Jessica and Lucas had done their job professionally as they do with Kansas. And then I come back and I visit the April meeting minutes. And in that are some financials that come out in the memorandum that go out weekly before every one of these meetings. And somehow what shows up, I can't believe it. Consider letter drafted by Cali First for David Chapman. Again, happens 3 times. 3 times in 3 different documents. And it was untrue. I sent a KORA and an attorney in Ark City, where Union State Bank is based in Ark City, is saying they own information that belongs to Winfield and Strotherfield.
They don't own it.
That's what he said. Do you want to read the letter? I've got it. I'll make a copy for you right now. I don't think it'd be a good idea to debate this right now.
Union State Bank has a branch in Winfield.
But you work in Ark City.
So, what?
So then to
Branches in
continue,
Bartlesville,
I then said 65, well, RCB has 65. So just to continue, I'm about to wrap up.
Yeah, we're about done.
I know you are, that's for sure. I sent a KORA to Greg Thompson, to your several personal email accounts. And then I sent a KORA to Winfield. And Attorney Muret has advised Taggart, and then they advised Tania Richardson, we deny your request. Now this is a city attorney who lives in Wichita, who is providing counsel to the city commission in Winfield, that they deny my request. And Taggart says, we deny your request, and Tania says, we deny your request. A KORA and KOMA that they say we're not entitled to, and it may be some legalese because there's a specific subsection, but unfortunately, Taggart Wall set precedents. I sent him an email with no form, and he responded, and he gave me the information. It was a little bit late, dog ate my homework kind of thing, but I got it. He did acknowledge it, so credit to you, Taggart, 34 years old. But Greg, you and Brenda never even acknowledged the KORA request you received. You even blocked my Outlook account, but you didn't expect one to come from me. It came back as undeliverable. All I say is it came back as undeliverable.
Okay.
So, to wrap this up.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes, sir.
have you read KORA,
Yes, sir.
the entire thing?
Well,
The exceptions?
I'm not an attorney, and there are
Well, and
exceptions.
that's part of the problem. You're not an attorney.
But the
And if you're going to be making these accusations.
I'm not making accusations.
Yes, you are.
I'm stating
Yes.
facts, sir.
Okay, if you're stating these facts, which again, it's a fact, the city does not have to provide you that information. It is an exception to the KORA. You do not ask Greg Thompson for KORA, you ask the city.
And I did
You
that.
do not ask Brenda Butters for
And I
KORA.
did that.
You ask for the city.
I did.
And the city has provided to you that information,
Not
which
the
they
information
can,
that pertains to the commission.
period.
Well, we'll see where this goes. I'm willing to agree with you for the moment. This is your position. You can argue it later.
But I
Not
would
with me.
really strongly suggest that you seek legal counsel so that you know what you're talking about.
I'm
Because
just
quite
stating-
honestly, you don't.
Fair enough, counsel. Just like the service dog that you withdrew before Tom, that got an at-large dog that was a service dog. You mean like that? That case? Okay. Because you can make mistakes. You're still human. That happened in Winfield.
I have no idea what you're talking
The
about.
attorney's sitting right behind you.
Doesn't matter.
So let's get back on topic. What do you say? I'm here this evening to formally request that you provide the public the information they're absolutely, according to Kansas statute, entitled to. And you can do all the legalese maneuvers you like, Mr. Muret. But at the end of the day, you are not entitled to deny the public this information. And the information I'm seeking, I'm gonna tighten up real tight. I wanna see the city of Winfield email accounts for Strother Field businesses conducted in Winfield. I wanna see Ron Hutto's, I wanna see yours, Commissioner Butters, and I wanna see your Greg's, because it doesn't exist. You do all of your business on your USB account, and your Soccer Dad account, and your Coca-Cola account. That's how you're conducting business. It doesn't go to the city of Winfield. I've seen the emails. Now, if you can provide something that's different, that contradicts that, please do. And Randy, I really appreciate your support. Lucas, I appreciate your support. And the folks here, I think I'm wrapped up at this point. But I'm making an official request in public. And Mr. Muret, if you'll give me the exact verbiage in order to obtain the
That does
information.
not work. You have to do it in writing and submit it to the clerk of the city of Winfield.
I did that, sir.
Or the clerk of the city of Arkansas City.
I sent
You
it to-
cannot make a verbal request for KORA information. That is not what the statute allows for.
For your information, I sent to Tania Richardson per Taggart Wall's request that you please send it to Tania, and the very same day, she denied it yet again.
There's a reason for that, and I told you. There's exceptions. Do not have to provide that information that falls in those exceptions.
So public information that you think
The
falls.
state of Kansas legislature set those exceptions out. That is what the state has allowed, that's what they say by law, that's what we follow.
Well, I've got opinions that disagree with you, and we'll let you sort that out later.
And that's fine. They
Bottom
could all be
line,
taken care of someplace else.
what are you hiding is my last question. Thank you for your
I'm not
time.
hiding anything.
Then why don't you release the documents?
Taggart's given you everything.
No, he hasn't. I asked for
300
communication.
and some pages, and that's not
No,
everything?
it wasn't 300 pages, it was 300 files. Some of them were 75 pages long, Commissioner.
Well,
But none of the stuff that I asked for concerning your activity and Greg's activity. And the next score that's coming is gonna be the concrete you purchased, the concrete you paid for, and we'll do an audit by project of how much concrete you poured. Thank you for your
What are we
time.
talking about
For what?
now? Concrete for what?
Thank you for your time. I think I covered everything, so thank you for your time.
Right.
I really appreciate it.
thank you. Here, second?
Second.